because in future if they want to promote any sales, so they require this data. Okay, by looking at this database, they will send SMS to promote the business, so that it will attract more customers. Okay, fine. But simple databases can be maintained manually. In piece of paper also it can be maintained, right? It can be maintained in manually. But whereas complex databases, where there's lot of information, large amount of data, okay, it is very hard to maintain manually. So it requires some need to be computerized. Complex databases need to computerized. So in order to computerize, okay, fine. So previously all the data were stored in a simple notepad or in an Excel. Okay, fine. So what is the we'll be learning, well, like why RDBMS came into picture, and what are the disadvantages of storing the information in the file. Okay, so in some way in order to store the large information of data, it cannot be maintained in a piece of paper, or it cannot be maintained manually. So it requires need to be computerized. So we thought that, okay, if all the information to be stored in a notepad, or in a simple notepad or a Excel sheet. Okay, fine. So for example, we stored our information in a simple Excel like this. So this is also nothing but it is a database. This is a database. Okay, the collection of data is nothing but a database, but that is very important. Okay, then what is a database means? It's nothing but it's a collection of data. It's called a database. Okay, any questions? Anybody, any questions?
No.
Okay, fine. So so what are the disadvantages? Okay, we want to store our friends data, name, gender, and mobile number. Okay, fine. Oh, okay. His name is the first record. This is record. Okay. So Madhu, male, and for example, mobile number 123. So Peter, male, 456. If we observe, that this has several disadvantages, because mobile number cannot be a 3-digit. Okay, for example, if there's a person, okay, some person, it can accept, this simple software can accept any type of data. Okay, fine. So for example, ABC is also accepted, but which is purely like invalid data. Okay, so if we store our data in Excel, it will not validate our data. Okay, so it can have, like, for example, gender can, if you store A also, it happily accepts. But the gender can be only male and female or transgender, right? So but this is invalid data. So as the database plays a crucial role in market today, because every database, okay, by looking at the database, so they will analyze the database to to mm, to promote the business or whatever, to improve the sales, right? So if our database is inaccurate, it's not complete, okay, so then that database will not be useful. So every business require database which should be useful. Database should be to be useful. The database should be first accurate, complete, up to date. Up to date. And this of, like, it should be well organized. If this is useful only, it helps a business to analyze. If the data is not accurate, it is very hard for the business to improve the business and to analyze what is the status of existing business and so on. Because now the database is so crucial that every business is treating the database as like a diamond, more precious. Database is more precious. So they want their data to be accurate. Okay, Fine. So, but the storing the information in simple notepad or Excel, it will not validate. Here, if you can see, the data is invalid. It cannot be used. For example, we have some another number. Okay, fine. For example, Sita B, and there's no mobile number. Okay, it is not complete. Here, it is inaccurate. So, if you want the data, for example, to promote a business, if you want to, for example, send SMSs to all the employees, or to all the members in the database. Okay, as the database is not accurate, it cannot help the business to improve the business because it is invalid data. Okay, for example, out of 7 records, the only the only SMS that will be sent to a valid number only. Okay, so 90% of the data is invalid. So how can that business, particular business, uh, uh, can improve the business, right? So these database, every database should be follow these 4 points. To be useful, the database should be accurate, complete, and up to date, and it has to be well organized. Okay, fine. So, so what are the disadvantages of storing the data? Because complex databases need to be computerized, we thought of storing the information in Notepad and Excel. Okay, but there are a lot of disadvantages. Okay, fine, because it can store invalid data is not consistent, invalid data, invalid data. Okay, there's no validation because so it should prevent us from entering the gender, for example, B. Okay, so but this simple software cannot validate the data. That is the disadvantage of that. No validation. Okay, invalid data, it's not accurate, and it's like inconsistent. Inconsistent data, there's no consistent data if you store the the information or the data in a files. Okay, so that is called file processing system. Previously all the data were used to store in the files. That is called file processing system. So in file processing system, all the information, all the data or information, I use the term data and information like interchangeable. Okay, I treat the data and information is same. All the data or information is stored in files. That is called file processing system. Okay, fine. So what is DBMS? We'll be learning very shortly. Okay, but before learning what is DBMS, we'll look at like what are the disadvantages of storing the data in files, file processing system. Disadvantage, what are the disadvantages means? Okay, no validation cannot be done if we store the data in files. Inconsistent data can be stored. Data is not accurate, not complete and accurate, for example. For example, another thing is data independence. Okay, so to overcome all this limitation, there's a special software exists, has evolved, called DBMS software. DBMS. Okay, it has like what are the disadvantages of in file processing system are the advantages in DBMS software. Okay, fine. So we'll understand like what is DBMS. Okay, you understand like no validation, right? So before entering the data, it is not validating whether it is correct or not. Okay, that is about validation. Okay, so in order to be useful, our data should be accurate. Okay, it should prevent the particular software should prevent from entering the invalid entries. Okay, it should check, but but Notepad and Excel softwares will not check, so that it will not perform validation. Okay, if the database is not consistent. Okay, for example, if the mobile number, if you're storing in two files, for example, if you're storing the information in two files, for example, Madhu is stored in this sheet and Madhu is also stored in other structure of a database. For example, if the data is updated, if the mobile number is changed, okay, because the mobile number of a person can be changed, right? So if the mobile number is updated in this file and it is not updated in, suppose if there's a mobile number in this sheet, okay, if this is not updated, so that becomes inconsistent. Here it is showing, if I want to, if my business says that, okay, fine, what is the mobile number of Madhu? Okay, so it will have like two entries. Okay, whether they should be treated as correct or this should be treated as correct. So that is nothing but inconsistency. Okay, fine. So with the help of that, is a disadvantage of file processing system. Okay, fine. So it is not complete. For example, the main purpose of storing the data, okay, of our friends, of the mobile number of our friends, the main objective of this database is storing the mobile numbers of our friends, for example. Okay, fine. For example, if you observe this, it is not complete. Okay, it should prevent us. Okay, fine. So here there should be no empty. Okay, but this file processing system cannot help us in completing that part. It should prevent us. Okay, please enter mobile number, as this is as this should be mandatory, as this is mandatory, but it will not check. Okay, fine. That is called not complete and accurate. Accurate means, okay, your mobile number should be like, there will be no two-digit number, or there will be not any characters, right? Okay, that is not accurate. Okay, fine. But in order to be helpful, the database, because the database is so treated as so precious, it should be like, follow all the four rules which I mentioned in this. It should be accurate, complete, up to date, and organized. Okay, fine. So what is data independence? Sorry. Okay, data dependence, sorry. Okay, for example, what is data dependence means, for example, if you're storing the information in a notepad, for example, if all the information is stored like this: name, comma, gender, comma, mobile number. So our business came to the conclusion that, okay, fine, so every field and data value is separated with a delimiter called comma. Okay, fine. So the data, every data is stored like this: Madhu, for example, male, and mobile number 123. For example, Sita, for example, female, and 456, for example. Okay, so if the application program, the program which is interacting with this data, okay, once we typed the mobile number, for example, once click on submit button, we want to get the details, for example. Okay, fine. So the application program, the front end application is written in such a way that, okay, fine, so it will look, for example, because as a structure, as a format of the database is stored like a comma separator. Okay, so it will go to the first line. Okay, and it will check that, okay, fine, after once it finds a comma, it will treat it as this is header. Okay, fine, this is name. Okay, it will read it will read the text after the comma. Okay, once it finds a comma, okay, it reads that, okay, fine, so this is the second column information. Next, once it finds a comma, after the comma, subsequent text after the comma will be treated as the next column. So once it finds a new character, new line entry, okay, fine, so it treats as all the values, all the data as a, all the subsequent lines as a data. Okay, fine. So once it finds, okay, it treats that, okay, fine, so the name as it is the first value, okay, before comma, it treats as a value for name, and this is, okay, value for the corresponding column. This is a value for a corresponding column called mobile number. Once it finds a new line entry, it thinks that, okay, fine, so this is this is another record. Okay, fine. But the program is written in such a way that, okay, fine, so comma is a separator. But if somebody, if somebody changed, okay, in future, for example, after 6 months or 7 months, okay, the format is changed, the format of data, like now says that the business came into conclusion that, okay, we'll maintain the format while like this, instead of comma separator, we'll follow this this separator colon. So if the data in the text file changes, the entire program also need to be changed, right? Okay, so that is dependence. The application program is dependent on the data how it is stored. So it is very cost effective. If you want to change the application program, it is very costly. Okay, again we need to change all the programs, okay, which have comma separator, and and it has to be compiled, and it has to be deployed in so it has to be tested in dev, and it has to be deployed in production. Once it is deployed in production, whether it works fine or not, that is that is like cost effective to the company. It is very costly if the data is changed, if the format of the data is changed. So it is very cost effective to the company. Fine. So for example, now this is first scenario to understand. Okay, fine. So for example, okay, okay, fine. So businesses like invested money in changing their programs. Okay, fine, right? So next scenario, that the problem with this is, okay, fine. For example, if the data, as a data, if there's any typing error, for example, instead of colon, okay, people mistyped like semicolon. Okay, fine. So the data, for example, if we submit 1 2 3 and press go button, okay, if we search for 1 2 3 and presses go button, it will give the name as Madhu colon M. Okay, because it is not end of the name. Okay, so if there's a mistakes, if there's any typing error, so that will be that leads to be incorrect data. Okay, right, invalid data. Okay, for example, if he misses something, anything, for example, instead of colon he presses comma. Okay, here there's no semicolon, it treats the entire thing as a one column. It is treated as a which column? Here it will treat as a name column only. Got it? So if there is a separator colon, once it finds a colon, the subsequent text will be treated as a value for the next column information. Fine. Okay, any doubts here until here?
No.
Okay, fine. So 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 as there are many disadvantages, these are some of the disadvantages I mentioned. Okay, fine. Apart from that, it will, like, data cannot be uh, rolled back, for example. The various disadvantages: no mapping. No mapping means, okay, actually all the data will not be stored in a single sheet or single table. Okay, fine. So they should be mapping between the two sheets. Okay, if I want to update the data here, it should also affect the data that is stored, the related data that is stored in the different sheet also. That is called no mapping. Okay, fine. So our program has to check the first this data, this table or this sheet, and update this, and also it has to check the other sheet called sheet 3. Okay, and look at his look at his name and update his mobile number. Okay, so there's no mapping if you maintain the data in text files or Excel sheets. Okay, fine. So to overcome the disadvantages of this, okay, DBMS has evolved. DBMS software. Okay, fine. So DBMS software, what is it as? Okay, database. It stands for management database management system. So this is a software that helps. Okay, it's a complex software. Okay, it overcomes all the limitations of file processing system. It overcomes all of the limitations of file processing systems. So that means if we store our database, if we store our data in the database, it checks all. Okay, so okay, it checks, like it validates our data before entry is made. Okay, this software, this particular piece of software helps us in validating of data. It prevents like invalid entry. For example, if we store the mobile number 123, it will not accept. It says that, okay, please enter correct mobile number. Okay, right? So this piece of software helps us in validating our data before entering the record, so that it follows like it will be very useful. Okay, if we store our data in with the help of a DBMS software, okay, fine, so it will be accurate, it will be almost 99% complete, and it will be up to date, and it can be like well organized. Okay, fine. Fine. So this actually helps us in, which helps in building or creating a useful database. Useful is to be underlined, right? So this is this software, this is a complex software which helps us in creating a useful database, which will be like accurate, complete, and up-to-date information. We can store, we can maintain up-to-date information and maintaining of databases. Okay, fine. So DBM, there are different types of DBMS. There are different types of DBMS called types of DBMS. So first is, okay, this is legacy. Earlier HDBMS, BMS. Second is NDBMS. Third is RDBMS. So this is our scope of interest. This is our scope. Okay. So all these types of DBMS, okay. HDMS means hierarchical DBMS, hierarchical DBMS. It stands for hierarchical DBMS. N means network DBMS, network database management system. Okay, fine. So only the difference, these all types of DBMS differ in how the data is stored, how the information is stored. All this differ. There's no difference between HDMS, NDBMS, and RDBMS, but they differ only in how the information is stored or how the data is stored. Okay, so in HDMS, all the information is stored in a hierarchical format, that is like with the parent and child relationship. Okay, fine. So most of the databases, okay, of legacy databases which are very old, okay, they used to store the data in hierarchical format, that is using parent and child relationship. This is also like define like how the information stored in means it's in network based, but is in type of nodes. Okay, that is not a scope, our scope of interest. Okay, but as SQL Server is an RDBMS software, this is our scope. Okay, so in RDBMS software, all the information or data is stored in relations. Okay, fine. So that is nothing but it's a table. That is nothing but a table. Okay, fine. So all the data is stored in form of relation. Relation is nothing but the table is a two-dimensional format. Two-dimensional format. So in relational databases, all the information is stored in a two-dimensional format called relations or a table. Okay, as per database terminology, it is called relationship. While coming to the implementation part of SQL Server of any RDBMS software, it is called a table. It is nothing but all the information stored in two dimension. Two dimension is x-axis and y-axis, right? Okay, fine. So x-axis means rows, that is rows and columns. Okay, fine. So we'll understand what is a table now. Okay, fine. So by this, like, okay, we we understood like what is DBMS, what is RDBMS, right? If you have any questions, you can ask me. Until now, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So what is rows and columns? Okay, so in RDBMS software, all the data, okay, same as Excel only. Same as Excel only. It contains rows. These are called rows. Okay, these are called columns. Okay, this is nothing but a relation. In DBMS software, the information is stored like two-dimensional, rows and columns. These are rows and these are columns. Okay, same as in simple Excel. Okay, fine. So the concept, the term data value is important because it is a very frequently used term. Okay, once you enter into a job, or if you want to communicate with your business client. Okay, so we need to understand the term called data value. Data value is nothing but this is the data value. Okay, Madhu. Okay, the intersection between the row and a column is called a data value. Here the data value is M. Here the data value is 123. Here the data value is 444. Okay, the intersection of a row and column is called a data value. This is called a data value. So this is a very common term used frequently in real time. Okay, fine. So now so now we understood all this basic things. Okay, fine. So yeah, RDBMS, we prefer that SQL server. Okay, SQL server is an RDBMS. That means in SQL server, every data, all the data is stored in two-dimensional format. All the data is stored in two-dimensional format, right? That is in a table. Okay, fine. So what are the other RDBMS software available in market? Okay, fine. So other RDBMS available in market are other like Oracle from Oracle Corporation. Oracle from Oracle Corporation. That is also an RDBMS. SQL Server is also an RDBMS. Okay, fine. For example, from IBM, there's a database called DB2. Okay, this is from IBM. Okay, the other databases called Teradata, MySQL, which is open source. Okay, fine. These are all RDBMS software. Okay, the only difference is that the company is different. All in any RDBMS software, all the information is stored in a two-dimensional format, that is in a table. Okay, right? So our part of interest, our scope of interest is learning SQL Server. Okay, fine. So this SQL Server is a product of Microsoft. It is an RDBMS. It is developed by an RDBMS software developed by Microsoft. Okay, fine. So what is the first version, and what is like known versions until now? For example, they started with, for example, SQL Server 6.0, 6.0, next 6.5 version. These are the versions, different versions. Okay, so we'll understand like what is the present version, and which in which version our all the subsequent sessions will be on. Okay, 6.5, and for example, 2000, 2005, 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 2014, and 2016. Okay, these are the versions of SQL Server. Okay, presently 2016. Okay, fine. So so it is very important to understand the versions, because if we like ask any questions in interview, in which version of SQL Server you use, if you say wrongly, for example, 2010, SQL Server 2010, he will be surprised. Okay, fine. How can you work in 2010 version? Because there's no version called 2010. SQL Server is released only 2008, 2008 R to 2012 only. There's no 2010 version. Okay, that is absolutely wrong answer. Okay, that will be impacted on your interviews, right? Okay, fine. So that is the reason why it is very important to know the versions. Okay, fine. So we'll be learning. This is a course for SQL developers. So there will be different roles in a database side. So there will be developers, there will be administrators, there will be designers, different roles. If you want to shift a job to the database side, roles in a database side, we can be they can be developers, designers, administrators, end users. Okay, developers are nothing but who create. Okay, who create and implement in an RDBMS software. They will create the table, they will store the information, they will create all the different database objects. Designers who are the people who designs the database, who designs the structure, what okay, with the interaction from the interaction with the customers or business. Okay, they will analyze the what different elements of the data need to be stored. Okay, fine. I wanted to interest I'm interested in storing the name. Okay, so for example, if the business say that, okay, not only name. Okay, with the communication, designers will interact with the actual customers, the one who requires the software. They will talk to the customer and understand all the requirements of the customer. So with the help of the like answers from the customers, they will design. For example, name. So if the designer interact with the customer, says that, okay, fine, I'll store as this, and the customer say that, okay, not only not name. Okay, I want to store the data separately, name separately. I want, like, for example, first name to be in separate field, first name, and for example, last name. Okay, so these are the persons, database designers, the persons who structures the data. Okay, what elements, what are the different elements, what are the facts of information we want to store, they want to store, they are interested in, customer is interested in. So they will structure the database accordingly. That is the role of database designers. Okay, fine. So administrators is nothing but they will maintain, they'll maintain the database. They are the persons of the to restore the database whenever there's a crash, whenever there's a crash in the system failures, and the problems in the system. And for example, if any disaster happens, they are the persons which helps in the regular backups, taking the regular backups of data, because we don't want to miss any data. Okay, fine. So we want to take regular backups, as the data is business is not interested in losing even a single piece of information. Okay, so administrator, the persons will take the regular backups. Okay, so if they will restore the database if something wrong happens in the system, due to abnormal failure or due to crash in the hard disk, or due to any natural calamity that occurs in location. Okay, fine. So they will in real time, all the databases are not the database are not maintained at a single location, not in single location. They will maintain the database across multiple locations. They will keep the same, that is maintained, that is, they'll keep the same piece of information in a different locations. Because if there's a disaster happen at, for example, at one location. Okay, fine. So in order to keep the database safe, that is the reason why they will maintain the same replicated data in a different location. Okay, for example, if you're maintaining the data in Hyderabad, for example, if there's anything happens, as is another database, okay, maintained at a different location called, for example, in Mumbai, for example. Okay, if there's something happens at Hyderabad, the data will be saved. Okay, because as it is stored in a Mumbai location. These are the roles, these are the jobs of administrators, who should be like given guarantee to our database. These are the people who gives guarantee to the database. But that means they'll keep the information safe. Okay, fine. So end users nothing but the interact the one who wants to find the information from the database by querying, simple querying. Okay, fine. So just they're the end user. Just if we want to know the information of a friend's contact, simply they will open the table and look at that. Okay, fine. So what is the mobile number of Madhu? Okay, fine. What is the mobile number of John? Okay, fine. This is the mobile number. This is nothing but the end users who queries. Okay, end users are nothing but who interact with our application. Okay, for example, if you type google.com. Okay, we'll search some information to look. Okay, the end user is nothing but the one who interacts with the system. Okay, fine. So so this is about of different roles. Okay, so this course is designed for database developers. Okay, fine. And some part also fine. To normalization technique will also play the role of designers in some cases. Okay, to because the scope also includes our course scope also includes normalization techniques. Normalization will understand some roles that the designers will do. Okay, the main purpose of developers is to develop the different database objects. Okay, they are the persons, okay, who will create the databases. Okay, designers who develop they design the structure, design the structure of the databases, like that is what what piece of information to store or maintain. Okay, fine. So with the release, so we our the- our scope, as we are learning the course for developers. Okay, fine. So we need to understand the language called SQL. Okay, fine. In tomorrow's session, I'll be giving introduction to this SQL. But before that, we'll be understand like what the complete details of SQL Server. Okay, fine. So as SQL is same for 2012 version of SQL and 2014 of SQL Server and 2016 of SQL Server. Okay, so whatever we are learning in 2012 version of SQL Server, that also applies to 2014 and also 2016, because no new features are added in, no new TSQL features. Okay, fine, no new TSQL features are added in 2014 version and 2016 version. Okay, if we understand 2012 version of TSQL, we can be comfortably working with 2014 and 2016 also. Okay, it is same like learning TSQL for 2012, learning TSQL for 2014, and learning TSQL for 2016 is same. Okay, fine. So what the prior version, the what is the prior version of 2012 is 2008 R2, right?
So small doubt, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Sir,
Carry on.
what do you mean by TSQL? TSQL and SQL is different.
Yeah, SQL and TSQL is different. Okay, fine.
What is the major difference, sir?
So, okay, fine. So SQL is nothing but it is a standard structured query language. It is a standard. Okay, fine. Standard structured query language. Okay, fine. So this is the language, structured query language. Okay, this is defined by ANSI, two standards, international organizations called ANSI and ISO. Okay, fine. So they say that these two organizations say that, okay, in order to interact with any RDBMS software in the market today. Okay, fine. So they say that this organization, these are the international standard organization, they say that, okay, if you want to interact if you want to communicate with any RDBMS software, okay, any RDBMS software, okay, if you want to communicate with any RDBMS software, so they say that they should use the SQL query language, okay, to interact with any RDBMS software. So these two organizations, these two international standard organizations says that, okay, they have to follow SQL as a standard language. Okay, that is a standard. Okay, fine. For example, if I create our own own RDBMS software, for example, Madhu RDBMS software or Naresh RDBMS software. Okay, fine. So if we are creating our developers, okay, our company is creating our own RDBMS software. Okay, so definitely we should follow the standard language only. Okay, so we need to implement SQL because it is a standard, it is a standard defined by international organizations. Okay, they say that if you are creating any RDBMS software, you should follow the structured query language to communicate with the RDBMS software. Okay, fine. So okay, the TSQL okay, is a transact structured query language. It is also derived from SQL only. Okay, this is a specific to, it is okay, it is developed by Microsoft Microsoft for their database called RDBMS software, for their database called SQL Server. Okay, Microsoft has developed SQL Server RDBMS, right? Okay, so they will use they're not, it means that they're not following standard SQL, they are following the standard SQL only, because it is a rule that if we create any RDBMS software, we need to follow definitely the structured query language. Okay, the query language should be SQL only. Okay, fine. So it is a language that is derived from SQL only. Okay, Microsoft people says that we say that, for example, okay, I'm using SQL, you said that we need to use SQL. okay, we are using. But in order to make our developers, my Microsoft SQL Server developers easy, for example, in a standard you say that, okay, it is taking two lines of code. Okay, so with my language, it is derived from SQL. Okay, I made my developers more flexible that, okay, fine, it will be very easy for my developers to write in a TSQL language. Okay, this is SQL okay, this is SQL, okay, which is a standard. This is TSQL, transact SQL, transact SQL. It is a language, it's a query language derived from SQL only. They will follow the standard. SQL Server also follows the structured query language only. As it is derived from SQL, it follows this. But apart from that, it has its own keyword, own proprietary things, own keywords, or own features, additional features, we can say. Some additional features, okay, to make SQL Server developers, the one you uses SQL Server, okay, to make SQL Server developers flexible. Okay, okay, fine. So for example, and one of the another example I want to get to understand these two things better. Okay, so structured query language, Oracle understands SQL. Does Oracle understand SQL? Yes. Okay, fine. SQL Server understands SQL, Oracle understands SQL, DB2 understands SQL, MySQL also understands SQL, because for any RDBMS software, that is a standard language. Okay, for Oracle, for SQL Server, for DB2, for MySQL, for and Teradata, for example. Okay, all this understands, all this RDBMS, all these are RDBMS, right? All these are RDBMS. So what is the ANSI and ISO said that, okay, any database that you are creating, any RDBMS software that you are creating should understand the structured query language. Okay, fine. So all these databases understand, all these understand SQL language, structured standard query language. For example, so SQL Server, okay, SQL Server has additional features. Okay, they say that my query language, SQL Server, Microsoft people say that my query language that is used to interact with the database is TSQL. Okay, transact SQL. Okay, which is derived from SQL only. Okay, it is follows the standards of SQL. No doubt. It definitely follows the standards of ANSI and ISO SQL. Okay, but additionally, it has some additional features. It has some additional shortcuts, additional to make things easy for SQL Server developers. Okay, fine. So for example, Oracle. Does Oracle understand TSQL? Does Oracle understand TSQL? Definitely no. Why? Because TSQL is a language developed by Microsoft for their own software, own RDBMS software. Okay, fine. So that is the difference between SQL and TSQL. Definitely no, because TSQL is not a language, not a query language of Oracle. Okay, it will not understand TSQL language because it is a language developed by Microsoft for the RDBMS called SQL Server. So SQL Server understands both SQL and also TSQL. Okay, but we say that, okay, it says that only TSQL. Okay, because TSQL is a language that is anyways derived from SQL only. Okay, fine. So for example, DB2 also will not understand TSQL, right? Because it is not their language. Okay, but Oracle understands SQL. Okay, and also like Oracle also has some additional things as as Microsoft developed additional features, okay, for their software called SQL Server. Okay, Oracle also follows a standard and also has some additional features also. Okay, Oracle says that there's no special name given for additional features. They say that okay, SQL only. Okay, but Microsoft uses a different term. Okay, fine. So this is called in this the proprietary SQL. Proprietary means which are which are which are proprietary to their RDBMS software called Oracle. Proprietary. Okay, there is a spelling mistake. Okay, understand. Okay, fine. So DB2 also says the same. Okay, but only Microsoft says that SQL Server say that okay, proprietary SQL is called Transact SQL, which is very much specific to SQL Server only. This is the language, okay, specific to SQL Server. Okay, now you understood. Anand, right? Ask the question. Hello, hello.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay, fine. Now you could able to differentiate between the SQL and TSQL, right?
yeah.
So if you're learning, as we are learning SQL Server, so what is the language? What is the query language that we'll use for SQL Server? TSQL is a query language that
Yes.
is used to interact. Okay, TSQL is a query language that we used to interact with the SQL Server RDBMS. Okay, fine.
Okay.
It is a language. It is TSQL is specific. If you want like more points about TSQL, it is specific to SQL Server RDBMS only. Okay, it is developed by is developed by Microsoft for their own RDBMS called SQL Server. Okay, and TSQL is derived from standard SQL. Okay, this is a summary, okay, about TSQL, right? Okay, fine. Anyways, like I'll be again telling SQL introduction to SQL. What is a structured query language means? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So shall we continue or shall we end the class for today?
Continue.
Oh, great! Everybody agrees. So we'll understand some parts of SQL Server.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, this course will helpful for SQL Server certification.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, whatever we'll be learning, it also helps in our certification programs, and it also helps us in clearing the interviews also. Okay, but the only thing you should do is you should follow is like whatever we are saying, whatever we are spending for 1 hour per day, just please review that and also practice. So without practice, we cannot become perfect.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
That is the only request to all the participants who joined today for demo class. Okay, fine.
Sir,
So one thing I want to
sir,
say, yeah, yes, please.
after completing this course, what for what job roles we can apply? It means what will be our
Yeah,
job role based
correct.
on this course?
Yeah, this is a
Like,
developer's course. Okay, developers, for database developers, and also not only database developers. If you're trying,
uh,
if you're trying in ASP.NET side or .NET side, because any application, every application today, like 99% of the applications are based on database only. Okay, so if we are trying a job in a programming side also, as a database is a foundation, it is a mandatory for any application. So if you understand the SQL server, the terms related to database, or understand the language called SQL, you'll be doing, like, you can try in both sides. You can be master in both sides. Okay, fine. It is not only for data to get a job in database side. Okay, if you're trying a job in programming side also, as this is a mandatory for every application. So it helps everybody in storing the understanding the databases. Okay, this course is purely for database database developers course and application developers also. Database developers and application developers. Okay,
Sir,
some,
this is Jyoti. I just have a question. Like, is this course useful for someone who's gonna try for data scientist, like as a data scientist?
yeah, definitely, because every the coming of technologies. Okay, the new trend of all the technologies are related to data. For example, Hadoop and data science, those are all like big databases. Okay, so if you learn this is a foundation for all the other technologies. Okay, first you understand like what is database, how to create a database, and how to what are the different database objects. Okay, so this is a foundation step. Okay, for all the new technologies, for that is data scientists also, data science. Okay, data science, Hadoop, and also like artificial intelligence.
Sir,
As a business today and the current trend, okay, every business is dependent on the database only to improve
I
the
have a
business.
question.
Yeah,
What is OpenSS? What is MySQL?
my skill is an open source. That is also an RDBMS software only.
So which one is better, MySQL or SQL Server for business analysts?
For business analysts,
Yes.
SQL Server, because as MySQL is open source, it cannot guarantees that to save our to keep safe our database safe.
Okay. We get to work on SQL Server during this course.
Yeah, SQL Server. Okay, so these are all competitors. Okay, it is a product. SQL Server is a product from Microsoft. Oracle is a product from Oracle Corporation. DB2 is okay. These are all competitors. Okay, fine. So but in most of the projects in most of the market today, okay, like all companies, okay, are using SQL Server databases. Okay,
Can I
so
ask
for
something?
example, DB2 by IBM. Okay, it is very like very few applications, which are using our DB2 database as a backend. Yeah, yes.
so in the present day today, the high security bank systems, does they use this SQL database or anything other sophisticated software?
Sophisticated software means, okay, fine. So it depends on the company and the business. Okay, some people, okay, some businesses use Oracle as a backend. Some people, some business use SQL Server as a database. Okay, fine. So as is a competitor in the market, okay, but learning SQL is common. Okay, Oracle understands SQL, SQL Server understands SQL, Oracle DB2 understands SQL. So that is the important of this course. Okay, we are learning developer course, which is specific, which is common to Oracle, SQL Server, and any other databases, any RDBMS software. For example, if you after completing this course, SQL Server for developers, okay, Fine. So it becomes very easy. It becomes very easy. Okay, to work with Oracle also, to work with MySQL also, to work with DB2 also. Okay, all the features which are the concepts are same, but only the syntactical elements will be different. Okay, fine. But while explaining the SQL Server part, okay, I'll tell some parts which are related to Oracle. Okay, fine. In order to differentiate between SQL Server RDBMS and Oracle RDBMS, definitely I'll be differentiating differentiating between these two databases.
So telecom applications, which database they're using? Telecom applications?
Telecom applications. I have no idea, Krishna.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Oracle or SQL Server. Okay.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Currently I am working as a business analyst. So we are using SQL Server. So mostly the commands we use is select command or left join, right join.
Okay.
But after completing this course, so I have mostly where I confused is we have ETL builder. So can we explore the features like design execution of the query and the sequence execution? Those SQL Server features will also covered in this course, sir?
Yeah. Yes. Everything will be covered. Like, okay, what are the things that developers require? Okay.
Okay.
The entire things will be covered. Apart from that, I'll also be telling some tasks of designers also, like normalization. So one session will be dedicated to that to that part. Okay,
Okay. By
fine.
the end of the course, we will completely know about the SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, right, sir?
Yeah, TSQL for Microsoft SQL Server.
Okay.
Okay, so not
Yes.
not the administrative part. Okay, fine. So the total administrative part, the scope is totally different. That is a
Okay.
different course. Okay,
Okay.
fine. Administering the database is different. Okay, fine. But as it is developer course, we'll understand TSQL, SQL, and TSQL language in depth. So whatever information we want to create, whatever information we want to retrieve, whatever information we want to retrieve in a better way, in a better performance way. Okay, all the things we'll be learning. Okay, during this course. By the end of this course, I definitely assume that, okay, fine, everybody will get a job and everybody understands the concept very well. I'll assure that.
Okay. And what about the designers, sir? Is the designer is different than the developer and administrator?
Yeah, it's depend on the company. For example, if it is a very big company, okay, the designers will be different. The one who designs the structure of the database, okay. But in a small companies, okay, designing will be done by the same person, development is done by the same person, and sometimes also administration also done by the same person only. Okay, but
Yeah.
administrator will be different. Okay, even in small organizations, but in small organizations, these two parts will be developed by one person only. In a large
Okay.
company, designers will be different and developers will be different.
Sir, are you covering, database security? How to secure?
No, that related to this DBA part. So we are learning TSQL language. Okay, the developers require TSQL query language. So that we are learning. So, but security and backups and restoring and replicating and other things are related to the administrative part.
So can we apply for database administrator jobs after completing this course?
No. So that is a different chapter. That is a different book entirely, or different course entirely.
So for example, if you want to become a database administrator, what is the course that we need to learn,
Ah,
sir?
okay, fine. For administrator, the first thing is this course. The developer course is necessary and mandatory for like subsequent job roles. Okay, fine. So if you want to learn administrator also, okay, you have to like query the database. You have to know like what are the different database object. Okay, how to query the different database objects. They not only take regular backup just by copying by selecting that front end graphical options. Okay, sometimes they also require to query the database. Okay, what is the table, what are the rows in that. Okay, so how to retrieve the information, how to retrieve the specific information. So they require also SQL language. Okay, what the developers require. Okay, this administrators require, developers, the developer role definitely. Okay, but developers may not require administrator things. Okay, administrator requires developer things, but developers need not require administrator kind of things. Okay, if he's a if we are administrator, so we should assume that, okay, he also knows the TSQL language. Okay, okay, designer part is completely different. Okay, they will design the how the data to be maintained and how the data should look like. Okay, what pieces of information the business is interested in storing. Okay, fine. Any doubts?
Can we work as a QA analyst after this course?
QA analyst. Okay, QA analyst is they will test the database. They're the testers. Okay, they are called like uh, QA analyst for database testers, and application testers will be different. For example, QA testers for databases is a different role. Okay, this course also applies to QA testers also. Okay, first, in order to test a database or database, okay, so we need to understand like all the things. It also helps for QA analyst also, QA testers for database, not for applications.
Does BI course cover?
BI course, no, it's a separate one. MSBI courses, okay, but for that, for all that, okay, MSBI has like three tools: SSIS, SSAS, and SSRS. Okay, fine. So for all this, SQL Server, TSQL Server is a basic step.
Okay, thank you.
TSQL for SQL Server is a basic and foundation step for all this. Because all these three tools deals with the data only. Microsoft Business Intelligence means, okay, all this, it is related with data only. Okay, in order to analyze, okay, in order to analyze the business, okay, so they will intelligently, okay, analyze the data. Okay, so in order to store the data, how you store the data? Okay, fine. So if you learn if you know TSQL only, so you can be like well design or well do that exercise designs and loading the data correctly by integrating this. So this is integrating like all the data. This is integration services. Okay, that means loading the data from different sources. This is analyzing the data. This is for reporting. This is like converting from two-dimensional database to a multi-dimensional for cube. This is only for performance. If there's a large set of data, like trillions of data, okay, so with simple from table, it will be very hard to retrieve. Okay, that is the reason that the table is converted to a cube dimensional, multi-dimensional. Okay, SSR is nothing but from the data only to take reports. Okay, or take reports means what? It will contain it will have some information. It will have data, okay, that is fetched from the database only. Okay, fine. So after learning this developers course, you'll be fetching. This is the main objective of any TSQL. Okay, any database. So once it is stored in the database, so we have to fetch. We have to get that information. Okay, if there's no getting of the database, so there's no use of storing the information in the database. We need to fetch. For example, what are the sales that in the last month or the last year. So for example, if we have a shop, right? Okay, how many females have visited during the last week? Okay, how many males have visited in the last month? Okay, fine. For example, if you are selling the products, if you have a shop and selling the products of males and females, okay, but after analyzing our business, Okay, we understood that only females are females are visiting to a shop, but male customers, there are no male customers. There are very less number of male customers. They will analyze the data, and based on that they will promote new offers. Okay, they think that, okay, fine, only females are attracting to our business, so why males are not attracting? Okay, they will promote, or they'll come with a new trends or new offers to attract the male customers. So this is possible only by looking at the data. If the database is correct only, they can analyze, right? So reports also used to fetch the data. Or how to fetch the data from the database is this is the job of developers. Okay, did I answer my question, Krishna? Right? Hello. Hello.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Okay, fine. Tomorrow we'll continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank
Krishna
you.
has just been chatted me, sir. We want to know about you. Please introduce. I'm
Yes, sir.
Madhu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Krishna. I'm Madhu. I have 10 plus years of experience. I worked on different kinds of applications. Like I worked in .NET, I worked in classic ASP legacy technology, and I worked on Oracle. Okay, my all previous experience are related to like much extensively on database side also. Okay, I worked in different RDBMS software called. I also worked in PostgreSQL also. I worked in Oracle. I worked in SQL Server. Currently, I'm working with SQL Server in my company. I work for different organizations, like in different organizations. Okay, I've done the projects related to government sectors and financial domain, and now I came into retail market. So that is about myself, Krishna.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, can we can we close the session, or if you have any doubts you can ask me. Tomorrow we'll continue like the different flavors of SQL Server and what are the different database objects. In tomorrow's class we'll be learning different flavors of SQL Server 2012 and different database objects and still what is SQL. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you, Anisha.